Hi everyone. Here we are, REBURN Fireside Chat, and my guest is Molly Mendoza, the variant cover artist for REBURN issue 1. This incredibly gorgeous cover that I love a lot. And REBURN issue 2, this cover that I also love a lot. Hi Jess. Hi Brad. I'm excited to have a reason to show these off to people. I guess I could just show them off just randomly, when I'm walking around. But it might be awkward. But in this situation, it's perfect. And Molly has a lot going on. I'm excited for her to join me and tell us what she's up to. She's working on different comics and projects, and she should be here any minute. And what else shall I say about these covers? We also have this art naked, which means without the REBURN title on it. You can find that on our Kickstarter, or if it's not there, you can always direct message us. That we do have that available. We definitely have both variants on our Kickstarter, which is linked in our bio. And Molly, I've just approved her, so she should be here. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. I was just showing off your variant covers for REBURN and saying that
Oh, yay!
I was excited to have an excuse to show those off. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I just woke up. I didn't just wake up. I woke up
It's,
like
it's okay if you did. And if you
but
did, congratulations on just
yeah, I
waking
would
up.
love that.
Yeah.
But
I I still love
also, my
to
cat
sleep
is
in.
doing stuff,
Of
so
course your cat
maybe
is.
if I'm
I
like,
find that
great.
cats really like Instagram lives to just be a part of it.
Yeah,
They're like, "Hi, I'm here.
yeah,
Notice
they're like me
me."
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I've showed off the REBURN covers. I'll do it one more time. Molly did these beautiful variant covers for REBURN issue 1, which I love so much, and REBURN issue 2, which I also love. And as we read on, we'll see that these covers have even more Easter eggs and things built into them that you'll look back and think, oh, that's what that meant. And the link to our REBURN Kickstarter for issues 3 and 4 is live right now. It's in our bio. Um, so there's that. And then what have you been up to, Molly? Because I know you're always busy.
Yeah. I I have been working on both children's books and also new comics. So a lot
Mhm.
of narrative-based work at the
Mhm.
moment. It's really exciting. It's some of my favorite sort of work to get to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently finished up a picture book with Scholastic, and then I'm starting one right now with Chronicle, and then
Mhm.
another with Simon Schuster. But those were still kind of, you know, getting like the
The
details out
details.
for those. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of new. Um, and yes, Life is
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, that book came out that one came out, I believe, in 2019 now at this point, or 2020. And
Time is such a
I know,
difficult thing to track at this point. I
yeah,
don't even
that
know.
one is written by Amira, and that one was fantastic to get to work on. So
And you have
that one is
another
available
one
for
too,
pre-orders.
and I can't think of a
Another
book.
kid book or
Yeah.
book.
Yeah.
Skip. Yes,
Yes.
that one is my
Yes.
yes. Yeah. So Skip, that one actually is coming out with a paperback version
Oh, wow. That's
in
great.
June. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Um, and so book stuff, and
Hmm.
then I'm working on a lot of comic stuff too.
Hmm.
I actually just finished a 42-page comic. It's not announced just yet, but it's going to be announced in about uh, not soon. It'll be announced soon. I just have a couple more edits to do, and then they'll be able to like talk about it and be like, "It's available. You can get it." Like blah blah blah.
And you
So,
wrote it as well as the art?
what was that?
Did you write it as well as, were you the artist and the writer on it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This one,
Congratulations.
yeah, yeah. I'm really excited about it. I've been
I'm
showing
excited about
little
it.
previews for it. It's
Hmm.
all the like watercolory,
Hmm.
colorful, washy comic pages, and there's like a lot of tears and people like holding each other and stuff, and it's a very intimate story, but then it's also very it's also really emotionally charged and intense too. It's got some themes of kind of like being hung up on something in the past and maybe looking at it too much with rose-colored glasses. So I kind of like to call it like toxic nostalgia. But yeah, it's a little bit of a heavy one, but I think I think that people will find themselves relating to it in some ways. So
For sure.
yeah.
I think a lot of us are battling that right now with the pandemic. We can look back on the past before this, and I think with some of that, like rose-colored glasses, like, oh, well, everything was so easy back then, but it was complicated then too.
My cat is trying to knock over this huge Dark Souls statue. Can I please go grab him 1 second?
Yeah, please.
Do not do that. He's like so annoyed that he can't be a part of this.
You could be a part of it. We have guests. Molly's a guest. What's your cat's name?
Please be good, Doodle.
What's your Noodle?
Doodle.
Doodle. Oh, that's appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the most you've shared about what it's about, right? Because you're not, okay. So
yeah.
Have you had that idea in your head for a while, or is this something that you recently wanted to create about, or is it something you've been ruminating on for a while?
Yeah, it's funny because this comic in particular feels like it's actually been like 3 or 4 years in the making. Only because I was approached about it like at this point, yeah, like 2018, I believe. Like it was going, but COVID happened and things got pushed out and things kind of changed, but the whole time, I could have finished it, and thankfully there was, the deadlines, they got a little lenient just because of the nature of the world right now. But I was able though to like keep thinking about it and working on it and like writing it, because it was such a difficult one for me to write. There's quite a bit of my own personal inner reflection kind of happening in it, and whenever you do that, or at least whenever I do that, I tend to get a little self-conscious. I'm like, oh my god, like
yeah,
yeah,
me too.
like,
so do you consider
really
it like autobiographical fiction, or do you consider it memoir? Or I mean, they're very close, but autobiographical fiction gives you a little cover.
Yeah, I think that this one, I'm going to say that it's still just like I prefer for it to be like, this is not based on but
fiction.
There's themes, yeah, that are tied to things that I've experienced, but also things that friends have experienced and family has experienced. And I think that in this story, there's kind of a character or a perspective that anyone could find themselves relating to on the same topic. So yeah.
I mean, I write memoir, and so I'm a fan, but I'm also I'm a reader of it as well, and autofiction. And I think the more sort of specific and personal it gets, the more people actually relate to it, which has been a difficult thing for me to accept, because I'm like, oh no, this is my experience. Who could possibly? But there's a real power, I think, in the specificity of it all. Yeah. And I have the same struggles when I have a much easier time writing about things that are completely like REBURN, for example. It's like, well, that's not me. There are things obviously that speak to me and I identify with, but when I'm really writing about myself, I get some imposter syndrome pretty hardcore.
Totally. Yeah, that's what it is, imposter syndrome. I totally get that. Like I'm like, oh man, like
yeah.
Like and also like, even if I'm talking about something that I personally has happened to me or I relate to, I'm also like, but I'm not trying to say that I'm an expert on like what to do in this situation. This I tend to, with what I write, to not come up with a solution or like put a bow on it. It's more so just I'm more so interested in, with what I write, like looking at the way that it makes people feel, or looking at the way that people can relate to that like moment, versus like sometimes the whole overarching journey of whatever that emotionally charged topic is. So,
I
yeah,
think that graphic, like memoirs or graphic autofiction, can be really powerful in exploring mood. I think in a way that's different from just words.
totally.
I don't know if you've read CQ, that graphic memoir novel by
No, I haven't.
Kristen, how do you say her last name? Radke.
Uh-huh.
It's I just thought it's about loneliness and isolation is basically the thread of it. And I just, for me, it was so evocative. I am not lonely like that anymore, and I'm grateful for that. But it was very evoked a lot of that kind of um, loneliness and the challenges of connecting with other people.
Mhm.
And I just thought she did it in a way that I think just words can be that. I mean, you can evoke things too, but I just think images and words when you're talking about mood and these, especially maybe sadder, more like sort of these emotions where we're feel like we're a little bit sinking and underwater a little,
Yeah,
I
totally.
think that it's really powerful. Um, so
And
I'm very excited to read your book. It sounds like
oh,
right up
thank
my
you.
alley.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm in.
I joke all the time. I'm like, man, what am I gonna write? Just like a fun time, just like a party or
It's a
something.
challenge.
Like I don't know. It is a challenge. Like sometimes it's funny to write. Well, I mean, it's hard to write something that's really funny sometimes. And I'm like,
Funny is hard.
man, I wish I could do that. Like there's so much stuff that makes me laugh and makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I don't know. I just find myself more so in the angst corner than anything. But
I love to laugh. And so I
yeah.
really I have written some funny things. And David Sedaris says, everything's funny with time and distance. He says it better, but that's the idea. And I
Mhm.
think it's easier for me to laugh about things that happened back. I can see the humor, but like when you're living through it, I think it's very difficult sometimes to,
Mhm.
I mean, you can see it, but then to articulate it and express it in a way that's understandable to anyone else, there's a lot of challenges. I don't think comedy gets as much love and attention as it deserves. It's difficult. It's
It
not
is.
that easy.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, I love and appreciate all the people who do it because
Me
it
too.
lightens me up whenever I'm feeling like in total bummer mood.
Yeah.
Um,
Sitcoms were my drug of choice as a child. I like watched every just crappy sitcom. I was just all in. My kids
yeah.
have no interest. I'm like, it's YouTube now. I
Uh-huh.
mean, that's what it is. But I would just be watching stupid videos. If I was a kid now, I would just be watching stupid, funny videos, probably. You
I
know,
love that.
yeah, I love to laugh. I don't really discriminate. I'm high, low humor, all humor. It's good. Um, so, and obviously that's a huge thing that you've accomplished, and
Oh,
congratulations.
thank you.
That's to do that on your own is really like to have no one else to lean on. That takes a lot.
Oh yeah, and I mean, the person I'm publishing with, he was very like, he was like, anything you want me to look at, but I was just still so shy about it. It took me a long time to finally be like, it literally took me until I was done to be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
read it. Like, I mean, they knew the gist, but there was some. I was very vague for a little while, but then they read it and they were like, I love it, and they were like, there's just some small changes. It's gonna be super great, and I'm wrapping those up now, and again,
Yay.
just can't wait to share it. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a comic for right now. It was kickstarted, but Shades of Fear, which is an anthology,
Mm-hmm.
and that one's fun, even though it's scary. But it's
Scary's
all
fun.
horror. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love doing horror stuff. It's great. Um, but yeah, this one is about a karaoke bar that's like haunted.
Oh, cool.
And someone who's kind of obsessed with the like wanting to perform, um, and kind of that like feeling or that high you get whenever you sing in front of strangers. At least I have that feeling
Yeah,
because I love doing karaoke. I'm not great at singing, but I love to perform and do all that
I
stuff.
have had fun when I have done it. It has been a long time
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
But it is fun. It's funny because I don't really love to listen to people sing, so I feel
Mhm.
like a hypocrite. I'm like, I would just like my turn to
Yeah,
do
it's like when's
karaoke,
my turn?
but I don't really, especially if I'm completely sober, which I am now. So it's like I will be like, oh boy, the bad singers they're tough when you haven't had any drinks, at least for me.
Oh yeah.
So It's like,
Yeah, I always
okay.
regret looking back on the videos that people that like have of like of you singing or anyone singing, you know, like me singing, like and I look at it after the fact, I was like, wow, I thought I sounded really good at that moment. I really didn't. Like, this is
You have
embarrassing.
to have a certain amount of, yeah, little confidence that
Yeah,
you sound good. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the other horror story would be about that. It'd be like, please take down those Instagram videos of me singing karaoke and the anxiety.
Serious cringe.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
serious cringe horror story. Oh my gosh, Doodle, please.
Ah.
He's like so
Doodle is like, this has been
well, I have to
15
hold on
minutes
to
that you
him.
haven't been paying
I
attention to me.
know. Well, he's
So
like, I'm gonna knock stuff down. I let him down for now, so hopefully
he's big. He's big, right? He looks like a large cat.
he's like, yeah, he's like pretty
Yeah,
big. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
He can knock things over. Really
He
knock
wants
it. Yeah.
to. Yeah, especially that he works on that Dark Souls figure all the time. It's like up on a ledge, and he just tries to pull it. And I'm like, oh my god, what are you doing, bud? Please don't.
You'll hurt yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Um, any before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to share that I mean, you're working on plenty, and I've seen pictures of your murals around Portland, which are
Oh
amazing,
yeah.
and I wish that I could see them in person. Maybe
Oh man, yeah. Mural stuff. That's been such an awesome ride. I feel like
someday.
I randomly stumble into doing another one like every year, and I'm always grateful anytime that I get to do them. Um,
Yeah.
there might be one this year, but there might not.
Hmm.
I have a lot of work to do, so
Yeah.
um, I think I might be just making comics a lot this year, and
Which is
also
great.
picture books. Um, but you know, I think like oh, if I was going to talk about one more thing,
Hmm.
the
Please.
Kickstarter for Dagger 2 is coming up soon, and myself and my partner Sage Howard are going to be a part of it. It's an anthology.
Hmm.
It's also in the vein of horror, but more like fantasy
Hmm.
horror, very actiony, very dramatic. Um, I'm really stoked because I get to work just in black and white, which is
Hmm.
something that I don't usually get to do, and I love working in black and white. So yeah, and Sage will be writing it, and I'm going to be illustrating this comic. It should be about 20 pages. It's going to be a long
Oh
one,
wow. For
but
an anthology?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's long. I mean,
yeah. I was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, well, let's try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have
Well,
to color
definitely
anything, so
when you post about it, tag me. I'll put it in my stories
I
because
totally will.
I like to share like what REBURN contributors are up to because everyone is up to a lot of things, you
Oh,
know. It's such a talented. It has been such a privilege for me to work with all these talented women. It's like really been a highlight of my creative life to just share this creative space with all of you.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been so much fun. I mean, honestly, both covers were a joy to do. I
You
was
can tell it
especially
comes
in love with
through.
the first one. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. It
Oh,
honestly
it's
it
so good.
opened up like a door for me where I was like, man, I hope that more people ask me to do covers because
Right?
it's I don't know, it's really nice
It's
to
such a
try to
good-
distill a lot of narrative elements down into
Right?
which is one of my favorite things to do. So,
Yeah, I think, I mean, there are artists obviously older who just do covers, you know, and
oh
it's a very, yeah, there's an elite club, but
yeah,
someday,
maybe
like,
someday.
I mean, it's, I love these covers. And I remember when you sent like the sketch for this, because we had a conversation, we were on Zoom about it. And, um, it's, it's hard to even articulate the feeling of receiving something that has based on a conversation and a character. It's so gratifying, but it's also this act of feeling seen,
Oh
and
yeah, totally.
that is really like it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I got that sketch, it was just like, what? I mean, it's this feeling of like being seen in a way that doesn't happen in regular life. So it's really it's powerful. I can't really like fully describe it, but it really made the pandemic like so much more enjoyable for me, this experience, because I was connecting with people in ways that it's not the same as connecting with people in real life, but it was a connection that was not just Zoom or email, or it was like sharing parts of ourselves. So it was really incredible.
Yeah, no, totally. I that makes me so happy to hear. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I I'm always grateful whenever I get to, you know, work on projects like this and you know, show like the dimensions to these characters and to the
Mhm.
story, and then trying to like find a way to intersect them and cross them together. It's really, it really is a fun like puzzle and challenge to get to put together and do.
It seems fun.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because it's also not tied to like plot points. You know, you're not like, oh, well, in this part of the sequential art, I need to tell this part of the story. You know, like this is just a feeling
Hmm.
of the story.
Totally.
Yeah. So, well, it's been so good talking to you, Molly. I'm grateful for this opportunity. And Doodle, you're almost free of
Oh yeah,
this.
it's almost free. Yeah.
Um, but please, yeah, do tag me, and I'd love to share things and that you're working on. And I'm excited for your upcoming comic, Untitled Molly Mendoza Project, and
Yeah.
REBURN Kickstarter issues 3 and 4 is live now. The link's in our bio. Here, Molly Mendoza's variant covers for issue 1 and 2. They're available. Any last thoughts?
You know, just thank you so much for having me. It was so
Oh,
great to get
thank
to
you.
talk to you.
I'm so happy to see you. And please stay in touch.
Well,
Okay.
cool.
Bye.
Bye.